Good evening, folks, and welcome to No Nonsense Nightly, now guaranteed to air at night, somewhere, for one of you. I'm your host, Michael Vardy, sitting in for Hank Digglesworth, who is currently on location in Humpty Doo, Australia, to report on the decommissioning of the big boxing crocodile. Good luck, Hank, and thank you for your work. Now let's get started. The SEC has listed several Bitcoin spot ETFs on the Federal Register. We knew that the Security and Exchange Commission had recently received many applications, but over the past 10 years, the SEC has shot down every single application for a Bitcoin ETF that was designed to track the cryptocurrency's current market price. But now, according to our friends at Bazinga Crypto, the SEC has officially listed BlackRock, Fidelity, Bitwise, WisdomTree, VanEck, Invesco, ProShares, and Valkyrie as Bitcoin ETF applicants on the Federal Register. This is a big deal. Almost as big as when Mom put that macaroni art you made on the fridge. Now everyone can see it. Now keep in mind that BlackRock alone manages nearly $4 trillion in assets, and the current market cap for Bitcoin is around $600 billion. And that is just one of those financial institutions. Even if half of these ETFs are approved, we are going to see a serious influx of capital into the crypto market unparalleled to anything we've seen before. And once BlackRock joined the party, everyone started thinking, they must know something we don't, because the SEC has never accepted a spot Bitcoin ETF. But BlackRock's ETF applications have been accepted 575 times out of 576. The twist is, and it's a big one, the SEC required all applicants to have crypto custodians, and BlackRock's crypto custodian is Coinbase, who you may remember from last week's show. The SEC is currently suing for selling unregistered securities. So it's hard to imagine that the SEC would approve an application from one institution while they are suing their partner institution that is necessary for the application to be approved. Excellent. Got it. Thanks for clearing that up for us. Since last week, there's been a development in the SEC's mixed loss in their case against Ripple. And by mixed, I mean they lost bad, didn't want to take the L, and now SEC Chair Gary Gensler will be taking his ball and going home. Gensler said that he was, quote, disappointed, end quote, with aspects of the judge's decision, which may have seemed classy if he hadn't then attended the Senate Committee on Appropriations Wednesday, where he went on to say that the, quote, wild west of the crypto market is rife with non-compliance, end quote, and that while, quote, this is a field that is rife with fraud and scams and hucksters, there are also good faith actors, end quote. Isn't that nice how he just throws that in at the end? Everyone at this party is terrible. It's full of clowns, criminals, drug dealers, and creeps. And I'm sure there's some regular guy around here too. And now the SEC is considering an appeal, which some experts are viewing as a setback, but crypto lawyer John Deaton, and yes, crypto lawyer is a real job, Mom. John Deaton is far from convinced, making the statement, quote, an appeal is not even close to a setback, end quote. And, quote, don't let anyone underestimate how significant this win is, end quote. And then went on to say, quote, it will be 2 years from now before a decision is issued by the Second Circuit, end quote. End quote. The Torres decision is the law until then, end quote. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse called the Torres ruling, quote, an unequivocal win for Ripple and for crypto in the US, end quote. And tweeted, X'd, we'll get more to that later, quote, the SEC created this mess by proclaiming it was the cop on the crypto beat when it had no legal jurisdiction, end quote. So there you have it. Everyone has gone back to their respective corners, Ripple claiming victory, and the SEC saying, this isn't over, Ripple. All I can say for now is that we'll be following along as this story develops and update you every step of the way. And that brings us to our favorite generated segment, AI Wars. In response to OpenAI's ChatGPT, Meta has released their own version of a smarty pants AI named Llama 2. And that is an actual photograph of Meta's new AI. Llama 2 is open sourced, free for research and commercial use, and it comes with an unexpected Microsoft partnership. That's right, Microsoft's Azure platform will house Llama 2, and Qualcomm is jumping on board to integrate it into laptops, phones, and headsets starting in 2024. Isn't it wonderful how the tech industry comes together for the common goal of making us all feel like we're in a futuristic sci-fi movie? And like every sci-fi movie, it always has a happy ending. Meta's decision to open source Llama 2 is expected to send shockwaves through the language learning model market. And it's going to be hard for AI open source startups like Red Pajama, who may be the first to learn what it's like for AI to take their jobs. But don't worry, Red Pajama, because they're coming for us all. Which is why I have been moonlighting as a robot polisher. Now that's job security. Apple is also working on its own version of an AI chatbot because Siri just isn't passive-aggressive enough. Sorry, Siri, you're out. Leave it to Silicon Valley bros to trade in the older model for the hot new chatbot. The new GPT by Apple is aptly named Apple GPT. Clever. And it is powered by the company's own proprietary LLM framework, Ajax. Yes, Ajax, like the strong, courageous Greek legend, second only to Achilles. Let's just hope it's not exactly like that Ajax, because he went crazy and killed himself. Oh, okay, I guess I should have said spoiler alert, but if you haven't read the Iliad in the past 2,784 years, I figured you weren't getting around to it anytime soon. So, Meta has llamas and Apple has Ajax, but don't forget about Google. They want to play too, which is why Google has released Genesis. No, not that Genesis. This one doesn't come with everyone's favorite hedgehog, but if you're a journalist, it can take your job. That's right. Google is in talks with the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Wall Street Journal about utilizing Genesis to generate and write the news without any of those pesky humans. It may sound scary now, but when our robot overlords take over, we'll remember how we used to joke about these things and laugh. Good times. Good times. And this has been AI Wars. To be clear, that was episode 4. Episode 5 and 6 of AI Wars will be next, followed by episodes 1, 2, and 3. And then, of course, 7, 8, 9, all to culminate with AI Wars, the last AI, or the last person. We'll see how it goes. In other news, FedNow went live last week, and some big names are already involved, including JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and BNY Mellon. What is FedNow? I'm glad you asked. FedNow is the U.S. government's instant payment system, which promises to transfer money faster than traditional financial rails. So now payments can be sent day or night, regardless of business hours, which would sound quite impressive if India, Brazil, the EU, and the UK didn't already have systems like FedNow for years. I mean, seriously, it took them this long to start making instant payments? I swear my grandma figured out Venmo faster, and she still calls it that texty money thing. Send them just a few bills on the texty money thing for their birthday. Thanks, Grandma. Of course, proponents of crypto may be thinking instant settlement day or night on one continuous ledger. Isn't that crypto? Looks a lot like it, doesn't it? But it's not. The Fed has insisted and even went as far to say, quote, FedNow is not related to a digital currency, end quote. However, they have also publicly stated that it has made no decision on issuing a CBDC and would, quote, only proceed with the issuance of a CBDC with an authorizing law, end quote. And Fed Chair Jerome Powell told the House Financial Services Committee in March that issuing a CBDC is, quote, something we would certainly need congressional approval for, end quote. Well, that's not a no. Man, I don't know about you, but I have whiplash from how fast some institutions have gone from crypto is a plague on the human race, to, oh, cryptocurrencies. I'm their biggest fan. Love that stuff. Crypto. Always have. But FedNow is not a cryptocurrency, okay? FedNow is just a way to instantly transfer value digitally from one wallet to another and achieve settlement instantly. It's very different. I guess the biggest difference here is that Bitcoin is a public ledger, while FedNow is a wonderful way to keep all of those financial transactions private, because you wouldn't want us peasants to know what the upper class is up to. Yes, you don't want those peasants to know what we're up to. We'll just keep this all private. And finally, Elon Musk has changed the name of Twitter to the letter X. So, instead of people sending tweets, they'll now be sending smooches. The multi-billionaire smooched an explanation saying, quote, "I like the letter X," end quote. Can't argue with that. And it makes sense to me because when Elon took over the app formerly known as Twitter, he cut 80% of the staff, lost 50% of its ad revenue, and now he has reduced the number of letters in its name by more than 85%. That's just consistent. But cheer up, Elon, because in another development from last week, we reported Twitter's competitor, Threads, shattered all records when it amassed 100 million users in 5 days. Well, it was reported over the weekend that Threads has seen a 70% downfall in daily active users since July 7th. Although I doubt many people will be deleting their Threads account anytime soon, because you have to use your Instagram account to make a Threads account, and you can't delete your Threads account without deleting your Instagram account. Smart move, Zuck. Who cares if 70% less people are using Threads? You trapped them, and now they're stuck with you. This might be why Mark made Facebook, so he had empirical data to prove that he has friends. Word of advice, Mark, if you find yourself using terms like trapping them, that's what we call a red flag. It's not how you make friends, Mark. It still doesn't count. All right, that's it for tonight, folks. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm Michael Vardy, and this has been No Nonsense Nightly. GN.